Welcome to Frequently Asked Questions with Roman Roads Press. I'm here with my wife Lydia, who is also head of customer service. And there's a question we get fairly often, which is, do students have to do the years of Old Western culture in order?
And the short answer is no. There are some pros and cons to both approaches. There will be scenarios where it will be better for the students to do the course out of order. One advantage to doing the course in order is simply seeing the progression of literature and history in a chronological fashion.
Right. And one of the benefits to doing them out of order is that, as a local co-op was explaining, as they have a cycle system, is that there is a certain appreciation of learning like if you start with the early moderns, there's all these references to Plato and Aristotle, and what they found is that the students who started with year 4, there was a certain appreciation that they couldn't have if they started it younger. They're getting Homer and Aristotle, and it's just, well, of course, this is the progression. By reading the later people, they start over and they go, oh, that's where that comes from. And they have just a bit more maturity to actually appreciate
what did that mean? Oh, wait, this is where that was coming from originally. Right. Here's Plato, and he said whatever so-and-so is referencing, a thousand years later.
That famous quote that, most of philosophy is a footnote to Plato. It becomes very real for those who actually didn't start with Plato. You don't really realize it when you started with reading Plato and Aristotle.
Another advantage would be, especially if you have some students doing Old Western culture and other students maybe covering the classics in another course or another co-op setting, you could choose to do the Old Western culture year that matches with your other students so that students are covering the same material at the same time. We actually have this scenario with our 13-year-old who's taking online classes through the Great Books, and our younger students are using other materials on the Great Books in their homeschool co-op. So we're following the homeschool co-op cycle, but our 13-year-old happens to have his Great Books material covering the same books, the same historical period. And it's been really wonderful to have the whole family on the same page. So if you have a scenario like that where you're looking at your 16-year-old mismatching with everybody else, use the year that keeps your family talking on the same page.
Right.
It's worth doing things a little out of order.
On a practical note of how the actual courses are created, each year and even each unit is self-contained enough that it can be done alone. There is what will often be mentioned throughout the course is, Wes Callahan or a guest author will say, as you may remember from the Greeks or previous unit, but then they'll go ahead and recap.
They'll give a reminder.
There'll be a reminder of such that they're not completely lost. So if you had done it, it's just a good recollection of it. But if you haven't, there is enough recapping in the video curriculum that you're not lost. You can pick up from wherever you need to.
Single units are 12 lectures with about a 6-hour runtime, and they really can be used as unit studies as well. They can stand alone. They definitely flow into each other chronologically as well, but there are many families and co-ops that use the materials and pick and choose units as needed to meet their needs.